Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, hello, hello. Come on in the room, as we say sometimes. Come on in the room. Sometimes we say, come one, come all, come big, come small.
There you go.
Girl, for those of you guys who have never been with us before, I am Candy Sincerity Johnson.
And I am Sean Johnson.
And together we are the Johnson family, but we also do a lot of things. We have money conversations. We talk about everything that's trending and going on across this nation. And we look at it from a very high level and we extract a lesson in all things. And so tonight is no different, girl. There's something that has happened, girl. There is something that has brought us back to this very table on a Sunday night. Usually when y'all see us on Sunday, we kicking back, just hanging out. You know, it's just casual conversation. But girl, y'all seen us at the table. So you know it's interesting conversation.
Yes.
Okay? So, did you have any announcements before we get started?
I don't have any announcements.
Okay, let me bring up the video on my end so that I can see any comments. Hello to all of our best friends that are watching live. Hello to our subscriber best friends. We thank you and appreciate your support of this very platform. Shout out to all of our best friends that will watch this video as a replay, and to all of our new best friends who might find us by happenstance. And we welcome you just the same.
Absolutely.
If you are not already doing so, please hit that like button and hit that follow button on the page, because we don't want this to be a one-time encounter. We want you to come over here and we want you to stay, baby. We want you to stay.
Absolutely.
All right. So, what did you title the video, sugar?
I titled it Helen, Grandma Holla Davis, honey.
Wow. Come on
There
now.
needs no other description, no other introduction, no other anything. Just simply that.
Helen, Grandma Holla Davis.
Yes.
Come on now. Come on now. So for those people who have been hiding under a rock, maybe they're not familiar with who Grandma Holla is, can you describe, can you talk to us and tell the people who Grandma Holla is?
Yes. So if you do not know who, most people just affectionately call her Miss Holla, but you know, some people put Grandma Holla because I think she turned into the internet's grandmother. Okay. But she made herself known by just being her. By just simply being who she was. And I believe the title of her page was Lottery, Laughs, and Frappes, honey. Okay. And her granddaughter, Michelle, helped her guide that page, brought her into so many of our lives, and graced us with her presence, her wisdom, her laughter, her jokes, her realness, and all of the things. Okay.
That's right.
And I know Candy introduced Miss Grandma Holla to me. And so it's so funny because I was glad to have come across her page, because I'm sure Candy will probably attest to this. Is she reminded me of my great grandmother. Like,
that's right.
She just reminded me so much of her, like that same kind of spirit, that same kind of realness, that same kind of, I'm gonna say what I want to say, and that's just gonna be that type of personality and attitude. But let me know if you wanted me to go into some of the details.
Yes, please do.
So in addition to being the internet's grandma, okay, she was born and she hailed from East St. Louis. Shout out Illinois.
Come on, Illinois, land of Lincoln. You know, hey, it's some greats that came from Illinois, huh?
I mean, wow.
Yes.
So she was born in East St. Louis, Illinois, November 9th, 1925. So you know that was already near and dear to my heart.
She was Scorpio.
Because she was a Scorpio as well. So she had a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge to give to everybody, because just simply being born November 9th, 1925. One of the things that we learned about her as, you know, we were a part of her lives and things like that is that she was a school teacher.
Yes.
And she focused on children that had learning disabilities and things like that. So some of the things that she would say when she used to talk about when she taught in the school system was that at the end of the day, there was nothing wrong with those babies. They just needed love and they needed attention, and they needed somebody that's going to take the time to be there for them and to help them through. And I thought that was just absolutely amazing, because I feel like that that group of children can be seen in a negative light, which should never be. And she made it known that that should never be.
Yes,
okay, so she
right.
was a staple in the school system, and just the things and the stories that she would share was just amazing.
That's right.
And one of the things that I thought was amazing was not only was she 97, honey, she stayed up to date on all of the current events.
She did. She knew what was going on, girl.
She knew what was going on,
girl.
Like when Will Smith cut up. Okay, and hauled off and hit Chris Rock. Grandma Holla knew. Okay,
yes, girl. Somebody tried to compare her page to. Somebody said this is like the Whitney Williams show. She said, "Girl, my man didn't know." Girl, your man. Okay, she said, "My man, girl." The way how your man played in your face and over your money,
that would never be over him. Okay. When I tell you she was with it, she was hip with it. She was the dopest little lady I've ever seen. She knew about the Wendy Williams, Rihanna's, Oprah's, Gail's, Will Smith, like you name it. Like she could tell you what was going on with it. And honey, don't come in between her and her frappes and her lottery. Okay, hence the name of the page. All right, do not play with her. But you could just tell the outpouring of love that was given to her, from the views to the shares, the likes, the gifts, the just everything. And for me, seeing something like that, I said to myself, I said, if I could just get 0.5% of the attention that she got when her mission was complete.
That's it.
You can tell the type of impact that you have had on the world when the internet is just taken by storm.
That's it.
When the news of your departure has been delivered.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like what kind of impact? Okay, this ain't my page. This ain't my video. Go ahead, girl.
That's all right. What you got for us?
So just to give you just a little bit more, it was more than just the laughs. It was more than just the lives. Like, I wish I'm probably not even given a percentage of what her life truly was, because we can only share what was public. But I'm sure if her granddaughter was here, or her children, just anybody, would probably be able to tell you hours upon hours upon hours.
Inez said, she said R. Kelly was her man, girl. She said R. Kelly. She said R. Kelly was her man, girl.
Let me tell you about it, okay?
Yeah.
But so us being complete strangers, if we're able to say some of these things, imagine what the family can say.
The first thing that I thought about was, I thought about the verse in the Bible that says, your gift will make room for you. And the reason why I thought about that is because most people spend their whole lives trying to figure out what they were called to do. Most people, when you talk to most adults, a lot of people will say, hey, I'm going to this job, or I'm doing this thing, or I'm doing that thing, or you jumping from one thing to the next, and you're trying to find yourself. Most people are trying to find themselves. And so what we got to see demonstrated in front of us at the age of 96 and 97 years old is we got to see a woman who found herself, and she knew who she was, and she knew who she was, and her gift made room for her. And what does that look like when your gift make room for you? Your gift making room for you is literally her sitting in her grandson's car or granddaughter's car, and she just having a conversation that she had every single day of her life. And somebody pick up their camera and think enough to record, to hit the record button, and the video go viral. That's your gift making room for you. And we live in a world where there's so many people who's trying to pretend, or so many people trying to say this or do that to fit in. It's because they just simply don't know who they are or where they're supposed to be. But this is a woman who was very, very, very intentional. She knew who she was, and she didn't apologize for it. And for that, girl, the world listened. The world listened. And when I listened to her and when I watched her, it did very much so, like Sean said, it reminded me of Sean's great grandmother. And Gigi was how old when she passed?
She was 103.
She was 103 when she passed away. And we told you guys stories after stories after stories about the times when Sean and I would go to Gigi's house. And because she lived at home up until the day she died, she passed away in her sleep as well. That's how God takes his best home, okay? And so she passed away in her sleep. So during the time that she was asleep, before Gigi passed away, we would always go over there, and Sean thought I was crazy. We started dating when we were in our early 20s, and I tell y'all stories. I would go up there and I would just want to ask her questions because I knew there would come a day and time where either she wasn't in her right mind and she couldn't remember the answers, or she wouldn't be available to me to give me the answers to the questions that I had. So sometimes I will find myself not just asking the questions for that time period. Then I would ask her stuff about stuff that didn't even apply. Mm-hmm. At the time, me and Gigi would have these conversations. Sean and I didn't have the twins. We weren't parents. Right. But I would ask her stuff about raising kids and being a mother and being a black woman and being a black woman in the 1920s mm-hmm. and being a black woman in the 1950s. What did that look like? Yes. What did that look like? When I look at pictures and I see the elders, y'all, when I see Miss Holla and I see old pictures that people are sharing, the family sharing and stuff like that on the internet, I see a proud woman. Yes. I see a woman of, of virtue. And I don't see, what we see outside when we walk down the street or when we walk in and out of Walmart. I don't see them kind of women no more. I don't see, can I be honest with y'all? Can I just tell you the truth? I don't see that anymore. Mm-hmm. And so there's something that's inside of women like her that we don't see in women like that we see on a daily basis. There's an ingredient for the chef. There's an ingredient missing. And there's a key ingredient that's missing. And so the reason that people sat at her feet every time her and her family pushed that live button, we sat at her feet because we knew that she was going to drop a nugget or something that we could take and we could apply. Mm-hmm. And so I think there's a lot of people all over the world, if I can speak for people, there's a lot of people all over the world because a book was being written and the final chapter, we've come to the final chapter in the book. And when you get to the final chapter of a real good book, the last thing you ever want to do is get to that last page. Because when you get to that last page, you realize in your mind, this book is taking me somewhere and I don't want to leave where this book is going. Mm-hmm. But it's something about when that period is placed on that last page. So when the period is placed on that last page, then comes the book being closed. And the book is now closed. And now the historians, I was listening to a lecture from a minister earlier. When the book is closed, then the historians of life come. And they gather all the pieces of what was Miss Holla's life and other family members' lives. You come and you gather the pieces of what remains, right? And then you take those pieces and you put that person in their rightful place in history. But you can only put somebody like this in their rightful place in history when they lived a life worth reading about. Ooh. She lived a life worth reading about. Mm-hmm. She lived a life worth talking about. And her life is a testament to everything that I always say all the time. We don't have a world full of bad people. We have a world full of hungry people. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And all people are hungry for is knowledge, information, and guidance. Yep. And the mere fact that she can cuss and make you laugh, but inspire you, cause you to pause, stop and think, and even cry, just like this, shows exactly what's missing in society. Absolutely. She was that staple. Mm-hmm. Remember we did other videos, we were talking about correction. Miss Holla offered correction. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't like correction. She's what's necessary. Yes. She's balanced. We call that balance. She's balanced. And I speak in the present tense because she is, not she was. Mm-hmm. She still is because she left us. Even in that video that went viral when she first got out of the hospital and she was talking about cancer and she said, I'm not going to be with you forever. Mm-hmm. She said, don't play me. Mm-hmm. Don't play me. This was her words. Don't play with, I'm not going to be with you forever. She was telling the world, I've given you what you need. Mm-hmm. And now what I have to give until I'm done. Take what I have until I'm done. And then when I'm done, and then when I put the final period on the last sentence of the last chapter of this book, you close the book and you go out and run. Mm. Close the book and you go out and run. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? And so her family, naturally, they're going to miss her, right? We're not a part of the family, but I would imagine because we've been there before with Gigi. Mm-hmm. They're going to miss her. There's not going to be a day where they don't think about her. They're going to miss her. But at the same time, she gave them the same thing that she gave us. instructions. And so the way that you show honor to those who came before us, the way that we honor our ancestors is we require ourselves to live up to a higher standards, but you apply all of the tools and all of the resources that they downloaded into you. Yeah.
And I think that she was also, for me, another example of how we have to cherish our elderly. We have to cherish those that came before us. And we can't get irritated or aggravated when they need a little bit of extra help. They need a little bit more attention. You got to ask them something one more extra time. Yeah. Or, you got to speak a little bit more clearly or a little bit louder, or all of the things. Because at the end of the day, we're all going to be there one day.
Yeah.
And think about how you want to be treated when you're at that point.
Yeah.
And it's people like her and my great-grandmother, my grandmother now, and those individuals like that just makes me realize and makes me cherish and makes me look at our more seasoned people in a whole different light.
Yeah.
In a whole different light. When I go to my grandmother twice a week and I do the things for her and I'm fixing her food and I'm doing all these things, it's never once a burden, a nuisance, an irritant, or anything like that.
It's an honor.
And I tell my grandma every single time, she thanks me for coming, but I tell her, I think I need you more than you need me.
Yeah. Why is that?
Because I think that, and I thank you for pushing the envelope. But I realized that one day when I turn that key or try to go there, it won't turn anymore because she won't be there anymore. And I have to take from her what I can before that day comes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it makes me also appreciate and realize that I missed out on opportunities when Gigi was here that I can't get back.
Yeah. 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 It's real.
And then one of the things that's so great about Holla is that her whole life wasn't documented on camera, but a lot of it was with over this last year or so that she's been on the internet.
Yeah.
And those will never die.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the conversation that I have with my grandmother and my godmother and my aunts all the time. Is I say, there's a lot of people across this world who are hurting and they don't have, a grandmother. They don't have an aunt. They don't have a mother. They don't have all of this guidance and this wisdom that we sit at the feet at.
Yes.
And so a lot of times my family's like, well, I don't want to be on the internet. I don't want to be on camera. And I tell them all the time, you don't have to be, just talk to me. Just talk to me. Ignore the camera, just talk to me. And so far too often they say no. And I told Sean, in 2023, I'm asking for forgiveness, not permission. So I'm going to start just doing it. We just left my grandmother's house. I should have been over there recording in. Because to Sean's point, there's going to come a day where it ain't no camera to pick up and there's nothing to record. But as I saw the news that she had passed, the first thing that I thought about was this song, and you guys may have heard it. It's a song that India Ari did years ago. It's called Better People. So the lyrics to the song remind me of our elders and our and the relationship between young people and older people. Because she talks about this, India Ari talks about this in the song. So here's the lyrics to the song. She said, I wish there was a video game to teach you your ancestors' names. I wish there was a phone number like 1-800-SAVE-YOUR-BROTHER. I'm thankful for the radio stations, not afraid to put the truth in rotation. There is certain information that you can only gain from conversation with young people who would talk to old people. It will make us a better people all around. And if old people would talk to young people, it would make us a better people all around. Then she goes on to say, we went from radio to TV. Now we're going from LP to CD. Don't be afraid to try something new. I can help you with the brand new technology if you can help me with the age-old philosophy. Together, there's so much we can do. When young people talk to old people, it will make us a better people. And then she goes on. And then she says, they say that every generation gets worse. They call it a generational curse. But these problems don't just drop out of the sky. But listen to Mahatma Gandhi's words. It can be the change you want to see in the world. Start with yourself and heal, and healing will multiply. And that's what happened. And then she goes back into when old people talk to young people.
If you never listen to that song, listen to it.
If you never listen, it's called Better People. It's India. It's India. It's called Better People. And when you listen to it, think back to the videos that you saw with Grandma Holla. Mm-hmm. And think back to all of the thousands of people across the world in the comments. Very similar to what I do. When we're talking about a trending topic, I'll curse. Or I'll say something off the wall, something that's wildly inappropriate, right? Because what it does is it makes people laugh and it gains people's attention and it perks up their ears. It's a technique that speakers do. Sometimes pastors will do it, but you got to be careful as a pastor. You can't go too far. You see what I'm saying? But it's a technique to get people's attention to attract them to something else. Right. And so, yeah, she was a master at what we call putting the medicine in the candies. She brought the people in with the candy. And while you were sitting there, she gave you your medicine.
There you go.
I don't know.
There you go.
So I don't know. It begs a question as we go through our lives. What's our legacy going to be? You know, when that final chapter is written and the period is placed on the last sentence, what will people remember you for? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's got to be your gift. It's got to be whatever your gift is. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What else you got? You want to read some comments?
Let me see. Auntie Fee says so beautiful. So a couple of people saying that we had them crying because this is so sweet. They were telling you to teach. Cherish our older community. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cherish your elders. We're calling all of the lessons every day. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. It was a gift. She's definitely a gift. She's a gift. She's a gift. And I would encourage you guys, you know, if there's somebody who has meant a lot to you, whether it's a mom, an aunt, a grandmother, maybe somebody in passing, you know, just don't take for granted the fact that they know how you feel. Mm-hmm. Just pick up the phone and just say, hey, I was thinking about you and I love you. That's it. No hidden agenda. I'm not asking for anything. Mm-hmm. You know, I just really want to just check in, because the common denominator with most older people is that they spend a lot of time alone. Mm-hmm. They spend a lot of time alone. And so oftentimes, more so than not, they're lonely. And so just the conversation will shift things, not just for you, but for them too. So, yeah. But that's it. That's all.
So we had. But we definitely want to say to the Davis family, to everybody in Holla's family, our prayers and condolences are with you. We know that you're hurting right now, but just think back to everything that she gave you guys, and I'm sure that'll put a smile on your face each and every time. So
that's it. That's what
we had to share.
She gave you instructions. Mm-hmm. Now it's time to go execute. Yeah. But you guys be blessed. Have an amazing night. If you're not liking and following this page, you're doing yourself a disservice. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that follow button. And as we always say, the absolute best is yet to come. But baby, we got work to do. Have a good night.
Good night, best friends.